All the cool cats and kittens are cussing. Be advised. Hey y'all, I'm Jenn. I'm from Oakland, and I'm an androgynous, black, lesbian feminist and a lover of all black people.
This is Daren. I'm an asexual novelist, researcher, and bona fide comic book fanatic from the widest part of Southern California.
Orange County. We're queer millennials with 3 kids and nearly 20 years of marriage.
This is a podcast about the realities of blackness, adulting, and relationships.
This is That Black Couple. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you know what today is?
It's your anniversary.
It's my
Deltaversary.
It's my special day.
Happy Founders Day.
Happy Founders Day to me.
To you and all the devastating
All the
divas.
devastating divas of DST. All my sorors of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Yeah.
I love the musical stylings.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited. This is the first episode of the new year of 2023. We done with 2020, 2021, and 2022. We said bye, bitches.
And it feels good.
And it feels good. We said bye, bitches. Right? You know what I'm saying? 2023 about to be abundant. And it's going to be so juicy and delicious. It's going to be like when you in the summertime and you get a peach and that peach is perfectly ripe and you bite it and it's juicy and it drips.
You know, just all down the sides.
And you don't even wipe it off. You just be like, it's okay. Or you get that piece of watermelon and you got to bend over to eat it because it's just like it's pouring down your wrist. That's 2023.
Perfectly right. That's what it is.
Perfectly right.
Right for the picking.
Yeah. This is season 4, episode 1 of That Black Couple.
That feels good to say too,
doesn't it? Season 4. We are talking about transforming black political futures today, which is a very vague title, but it's going to get real specific.
Yes, it is.
So let's talk about what you need to sit down and get. This is episode 1, season 4, That Black Couple. Please go grab a nice glass of water. We are staying moisturized. Yes. Cheers, bro. Cheers. We are staying hydrated and moisturized all of 2023. We are not supposed to be having no drama and fallout and beef in our life because we are thirsty. I feel like a lot of the stuff that we go through because we're thirsty. Mm-hmm. We dehydrated. People got the bubble guts.
It's from a lack. There's a lack.
Just thirsty. Pores all dried out, you know. We're thirsty. So no thirst in 2023. We're moving from abundance.
I'm with it.
Yes. So sit down, get that, okay? I'm Jenn.
I'm Daren.
And before we get started, I need you to make sure you're following us on Twitter, even though Twitter...
It's on the last leg.
Wow, it's really just slowly dying. And Instagram at That BOK Couple, on Facebook at That Black Couple, and email us or look us up on the internet at www.thatblackcouple.com. And
where can you find us? You can find us everywhere. Everywhere podcasts are streamed.
Oh my God. Is this a New Year thing?
That would mean.
And where can we find us? Why are you asking yourself the question?
I'm embodying, the newscaster.
Let me drink my water.
So that would mean you can find us at Apple Podcasts. You can find us at Google Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Stitcher. You can find us on SoundCloud. Anywhere podcasts are streamed, you can find us.
Daren, can they find us in a box?
Does the box stream podcasts?
Yes.
Then you can find us in that box.
Can they find us with a fox?
Does the fox stream podcasts?
Yes.
Then you can definitely find us with that fox.
Can they find us in the rain?
Well, I know I've listened to podcasts in the rain, so I'm pretty sure you can find us there.
Can they find us on the train?
Oh, and everyone listens to the podcast on the train. That's actually one of the best places you could listen to That Black Couple on a train.
Thank you, Daren. I am.
Whew. That's
Appreciate
good.
you.
I'm back now. Okay. I'm back.
I wanted to go with you. You was doing a lot, and I wanted to do it too.
It was for the people.
Yes.
And I know they enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. So, are you ready?
I am.
Alrighty. Then let's go.
Segment 1. Let's talk about this because last year ended with a bang.
Whew.
Last year ended with a bang. We're talking about transforming Black political future, but we're really talking about where we came from and how we got here too.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do we get to this episode? Do you want to start or you want me to start?
I want you to start.
Okay. So for me, I have to be completely honest. I'm a political scientist. I am trained to talk about politics all day. There have been times in my life where all I listened to was public radio and I would come home and just watch the news. Mm-hmm. And that's all I wanted to do. And it got to a point where I got so exhausted and fatigued over COVID that I had to stop. I had to completely unplug and remove myself because it was affecting me emotionally and mentally in ways that I wasn't even really aware of. And what that meant was there were a lot of things I just completely missed intentionally, but it also meant I got to cherry pick how I came back in.
Yeah.
And so last year I kind of was checked out a lot when it came to politics, but I was really interested in this election because there was so much contention over the past 2 elections and over issues that mattered to me. We've talked about, involuntary servitude, aka slavery, right, on the ballot, abortion. We talked about incarcerated folks or post-incarcerated folks being granted the right to vote in states across the country, the legalization across the country of marijuana. We've talked about a lot of things that matter, and I've been so disappointed and disillusioned with how folks have handled it. But then, last year, I was something feel a little bit different. Coming into what they thought was going to be a red wave, it just felt like young folk, that I teach, young folk that I organize with, I'm yeah, something feel different. And even the language and the ideas around how we engage with voting as a tactic among many tactics, the ideas that young folks 18, 19, and 20 have about the power of their vote, especially voting locally and in smaller midterm elections, right? Was so promising to me. And then niggas turned out.
They did. They showed up.
And it was the young folk. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what we've been saying for so long. And it was so refreshing to see it. You know what I'm saying?
And honestly, the thing about it for me is, going into the election, I was watching the news.
Yeah, you was.
I know you was agnostic, but I was watching the news. And all the news was about trying to predict what's going to happen, who's going to vote which way, who's going to show up, who's not going to show up, who's going to get elected, who's not going to get elected, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone was trying to figure it out. And realistically, the story of the election was people's rights were in danger.
Right.
And they realized, if I don't vote, my rights go away.
Right.
And I hate that it takes getting to the brink like that for people to show up and say, okay, we've now crossed some lines. I need to, assert some of my political power in this way. But I'm glad that it actually did happen. It proved that people are aware and they are plugged in a little bit, and they do realize the importance of what their vote actually means for their lives, and for the lives of everyone else around them as well.
Yeah, and I also think that there were the elections of particular political leaders that was exciting. Wes Moore in Maryland, super exciting. They're queer, trans, immigrant, disabled folk across the country, folks who have been raised in movements, mm-hmm. folks who have been directly affected by gun violence across the country, who are now in political office and who can actually speak to the experiences of folks who are frequently not listened to or completely overlooked and erased. And I'm just so excited about the promise of that. I'm so excited about being able to see so much of our struggle come into being in such a real and material way.
Yeah.
And I think that's what brought me to the episode.
That's a valid way to come into the episode. Mm-hmm. But I'm kind of petty.
Oh, God.
And part of what brought me to the episode was the hilariousness
of the house.
The hilarious of the house. So
yeah,
if you're not plugged into politics like I am, I watch it like it's entertainment because sometimes it is.
And those kids are so sick of your shit.
They hate it. They're like, news. Oh.
Mommy, ew. Daddy turned on the news.
He did it again.
Ew, yuck.
But this was good. Because, the Republicans, that red wave, it really wasn't a wave, but they did manage to gain control of the House, which means, they get to vote for the Speaker of the House. Mm-hmm. And for the first time in, I think it was over 100 years, they didn't vote in the Speaker on the first vote.
Correct. Or the second.
Or the second.
Or the third.
Or the third.
Or the fourth, fifth,
or the
sixth,
6th. Or the 12th.
Yeah.
Kevin McCarthy was running, and it took them 15 rounds of voting for him to be elected. I mean, this is so demoralizing. And he was walking around all proud. I'm like, you should be ashamed.
That man said, today is a win. We said, sir, it's the exact opposite. You lost again today.
So many people were like, he should just stop trying to get elected. At this point, once you hit 10, it's like, you don't want it no more.
But how do you have to, there's something about white manhood where you can encounter and experience 2 straight weeks of only loss. There's no other way to read what happened besides just loss. And you come out and you say, today was a win. Today was a win.
I gave up everything. I'm the speaker only in title only.
Today was a win.
At any point, someone can say, vote of no confidence. Let's vote to get him out of speaker.
Malehood is strange. We're all like, sir. No, that's not what this was. You are losing. You're the biggest loser. Everyone's watching. How embarrassing.
But honestly, like I said, that's what brought me to the episode.
Yeah.
Because to me, that was so emblematic of
where we are,
right? What you just talked about, like the results of all these elections, and then that comes off of the heels of it. Mm-hmm. It's basically saying we as a people are standing up for the things that we want. We're standing up for rights. We're standing up for equality. We're standing up for access. Right. We're standing up for women. We're standing up. The other thing is, like, you talked about the red wave that again didn't really happen.
It was a trickle. A drip.
It was a splash. It was like a whoop, But also there was a rainbow wave, right? More queer people were elected to office nationwide than ever before in history.
Because millennials were the queerest generation in history. It makes sense.
And that's all I'm saying is, like, I feel like I've been so downtrodden from what's happening politically for so long. Yeah. And I came into this election with the lowest of hopes. Same. And I feel like America surprised me.
Right. And I feel like, what that feels for me? Like a way back in. And that makes me excited because I have been so disillusioned and not ready to come back. And now I'm like, okay, this might be a way back in. Yeah.
This podcast is supported by generous donations from our patrons and listeners. Become a supporter today by heading to www.patreon.com/colorcombosmedia.
You can stream the show on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and SoundCloud. When you listen, please consider hitting that heart button, sharing, giving us a 5-star rating, and leaving some dope comments. This helps us with our page rankings and gets more listeners for the show. Thank you so much.
We are back.
Did you make a face?
No, I didn't. Okay. I was looking to the left.
Would I get in trouble?
Oh, you so high. The high has hit.
Welcome back.
You would think we wouldn't be like this with the topic of the episode today, but
it's always lighthearted around here.
That's how you got to keep it. You got to keep
Give
it
us
light.
some data, Daren. I want to hear more about this election and what it means for Black political futures.
Yeah, let's talk about where we're going. So thinking about this election, I got the stats. I pulled the stats. I can't help it. I talked to my therapist about it. It's a part of my personality.
Don't start this. I talked to my therapist about this stuff.
I did. I had a whole deep discussion with him about it today.
Pause this too. What? Because I'm going to punch you because today is your mama's birthday. I'm telling everybody.
Listen, it is only 4:00 there.
This woman is a perfect human being. My mother-in-law is that nigga. I love her. This boy right here, this dude right here, he got the perfect mama.
Why are you holding my hand up for me?
This guy got the perfect mama. I told him, I said, it's your mama's birthday. It's your mama's birthday. He gonna say, I talked to my therapist.
Why you gonna bust me out
say,
on the recording?
I don't really do birthdays. And I'm accepting that about myself. I said, wait, you gonna tell me that you talked to your therapist and you gonna use that as justification for being a shithead? Bitch, you better call your mama.
I'm a caller.
You better tell my mother-in-law happy birthday. You better tell my mother-in-law.
You better tell my mother happy Founders Day.
You better tell my mama. I can't talk to her till you talk to her because it look bad. Because if her daughter-in-law catch her before her son on her birthday, it look bad.
She know who she.
So you be delaying me.
She know who I is.
You be making so I can't talk to the beloved of my life.
Wow.
My beloved mother-in-law.
Wow.
My beloved pro-fight. My beloved pro-fight who crossed me across those burning sands. Okay? Oh.
We're going to call her after this episode. Okay.
Anyway, don't start this. My therapist told me.
Regularly scheduled programming.
I don't play by my mother-in-law.
My therapist
I don't play by that
told me that's a part of my personality, is who I am.
Auntie Jackie, I love you, girl.
I seek data and information. That's why I got the stats.
You really got a great mom.
I do. She's wonderful. She's a wonderful woman, for real. The best to ever do it.
Jesus. What a great person.
All right. We're talking about black political futures.
Okay. Continue.
Gosh, you're getting us off track.
I'm sorry. I love her. I love her.
So, the vote this year.
Yes.
Everyone was worried. Oh, no. What's going to happen? Oh, no. Oh, no. Young people showed up and they showed out.
They absolutely did.
This is the second highest youth voter turnout in the last 30 years. Mind you, this was a midterm election where turnout is typically incredibly low.
Incredibly low. I mean, we already have pretty low turnout in this country.
Usually midterms, it's like, oh no, we got to really mobilize everyone because everyone's going to stay at home.
Right.
Young people showed up and
at the
showed
midterms.
out.
At the midterms.
Again, that's really telling us where we're going in the future. People are aware. They're watching. They're watching and they're plugged in. Also, the things that they had to vote on were very, very important.
Absolutely.
Abortion was a huge, huge issue.
Was it 5 states?
I don't know the number of states. I didn't pull that stat.
Think about 5 states.
I didn't pull that stat. But it was a lot. And about 27% of voters cited abortion as their most important issue for what drove them to the polls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like wow.
I mean, it makes
on
sense.
the heels of Roe v. Wade being thrown out, for people to say, no,
Right.
no,
Right.
is amazing.
Right. I mean, it's amazing, but it's also important because I think what people were saying is that this is too far. You know, we have a lot of rhetoric in this country. People like to do the political footballing back and forth and threats, but sometimes they take it too far. And I think that rolling back Roe v. Wade and so many years of precedent that have protected so many folks' rights, not just women, right? Folks with uteruses across genders, and have made it safer for folks to be able to access care, right? Enough people know that now. It's 2022 when this vote happened, right? So we have enough data. We have the Google. People know that these are life-saving procedures. And when we had to encounter last summer this kind of like deep rollback, but this like also kind of like this incredulousness associated with it, like, this kind of like, we told you we were going to do it, you know?
Yep.
And I think the flippant attitude was what people were just like, oh, you don't actually care about us. You don't care about our lives.
Confidence in the Supreme Court is a historic low as well.
Right.
So
Right.
that tells you where we are.
Right. Poor Ketanji.
I know, but
Bless your heart,
she
girl.
holding it down.
Bless your heart, girl.
But you know what else we voted on?
Ooh, okay, Barry White.
You know what else we voted on?
What did we vote on, baby?
We voted on weed.
I mean, I have not noticed anything, if we're being honest.
You didn't notice that there were votes about weed legalization?
I noticed the vote. I just didn't notice in my personal life because I'm from Oakland.
But this is really important. There were votes in 5 states
Yes.
about weed.
Yes.
weed was legalized in 2.
Yes.
It was rejected in 3. Which,
hey,
okay.
Maryland.
You know,
Maryland.
I see you. I see you. I mean, that's not great. You know, it's less than 50% of the votes. However, if we look at the overall tally, 21 states and D.C. now have legalized recreational weed.
Right.
We're not even talking about medical with your weed card.
Right.
You got to go to the doctor.
Right.
And you got to go to the special dispensary. We're talking about recreational.
Right.
21 states and D.C.
Right.
If you had told me 10 years ago,
No.
I would not have believed you.
And it's so important when we start thinking about decriminalization and the fact that we're really trying to get folks out of prison for these minor marijuana associated offenses. Like, it doesn't make sense. Folks need to be free, period. We know that once you incarcerate someone, that the risk of them escalating and getting more charges or fees that keep them in prison, it's just automatically the statistical likelihood goes up.
Yeah.
So if folks are being kept in prisons for really small amounts of weed, right? Or shit, even if it was like a moderate size of weed, right?
Yeah.
It's legal now.
Yeah.
So we've got to actually have that conversation. I'm really excited about that conversation. I feel like people are not ready to have it yet because there's still this kind of fear around who do we consider a criminal? Who do we consider a deviant?
Yeah.
And it's still very highly racialized. But I do feel like a lot of abolitionists and a lot of grassroots marijuana activists and advocates who are non-Black, right? Who are non-immigrant, who are non-assumed deviant, right, are the ones who are leading the charge to say, please decriminalize this, because actually we actively engage in these processes too. And we actually have more experience and knowledge than you do. So maybe you should just kind of listen to us.
I mean, it's weird, but it's reminiscent of abortion to me. In a lot of ways, there's still obviously millions and millions of opponents.
Absolutely.
To any type of abortion, no matter what the circumstance.
Yeah.
But there is movement. There are people who are changing their mind. There are people that are opening their mind. There are people that are being personally impacted, whether it's something that happens to them, to someone that's a relative, to a friend, and just starting to not be closed-minded on certain issues.
Yeah.
The same thing with weed. People are just gradually seeing, hey, this is not not a hard drug.
All the hype that was 1980s about crack and weed being the same. We really got it. Yeah.
And I think part of it is because there are some legitimate drug issues.
Sure.
Right. There are, drugs are a major issue.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people are seeing really incredibly disastrous effects for not just individuals, but entire communities due to drugs.
Sure.
And I think when you look up and you realize none of that is weed related.
Well, some of it is, right, and that's partly because of the fact that it's not legalized, right? Because marijuana sales have largely been based on trust with local growers and buyers and sales, and so when folks are now adding these synthetic additives and all these things that incentivize buying, at cheaper amounts, but you can sustain larger inventory for a longer period, it puts people in danger. And so it's the fear that people have around marijuana is actually a lot of it's self-imposed.
Exactly. You legalize it, it becomes something that is now
regulated. Give people actual jobs, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
And the last thing I want to talk about is the people that were elected.
Yeah.
We just talked about the Rainbow Wave and how huge that was. Wes Moore, the first Black governor of Maryland. Maryland really showed. Come on now.
Shout out to you, Maryland.
Shout out, Maryland. But also, there's some other ones too. So Margaret Healey, a Democrat, was elected governor of Massachusetts, the first openly lesbian governor anywhere in the entire country. We also had Democrat James Rosner, a bisexual transgender man, elected to the New Hampshire House of Representatives, the first openly transgender man to win in any state legislature election.
What?
Ever. The first ever.
Lord.
First ever.
We are so retrograde.
We're so retrograde, but it's honestly it's really kind of amazing to live in this time.
Yeah, it is.
Watching these things happen because I know, but it's we're literally watching the world change.
We are watching the world change, and I do feel like it's great to be in a generation where we get to see that, right? We're in a generation where it was like, oh, cell phones, oh, smartphones, oh, laptops, oh, like we just keep getting more shit. I'm excited about all the change. I also sometimes be like, bro, trans folks are not new.
They're not new, but
we are not.
It's not new, but I think it's one of those things where, like we talk about, certain industries are always behind. Like I work in market research. Market research is always behind. You work in political science is always behind.
America's always behind,
right? You know, the political process is always behind.
The whole, all of it.
You know, it's because we're technically bringing in everybody, right? It's everybody.
Exhausting.
And so the fact that someone at a state level, as a trans man, was elected,
I hate it here.
A plurality, but I mean, just think about that. A plurality of voters.
That doesn't surprise me. It's New Hampshire.
It's New Hampshire, but I'm just saying that that's representative. Even though it's New Hampshire, you know, it could be the most, you know, liberal area in the entire country. Still, the fact that a plurality of the voters voted for a trans person, is like,
okay, you're doing too much now.
No, I'm just saying, like,
fix your eyes.
in our lifetime, like I don't
want to give them too much credit.
I'm not giving it credit. I'm just saying the fact that it's actually happening.
Sure.
Like, I'm not like, New Hampshire, you know.
Sure.
We're not going to do all that.
Spirit fingers.
We're not going to do all that. But I'm just saying, just to witness these things happening, while we're also watching so many people be persecuted and attacked and mistreated and discriminated against and all those things, to say, in the midst of all that, we still have the ability to elect a trans person, to elect a black man as a governor, to elect a black man as president.
All I'm saying is, I'm excited about it, but you know, I'm always very leery of getting excited about white trans folks and their proximity to power.
Fair.
You know, the white gays really be on their own shit. The white trans folks really be on their own shit sometimes. So I'd be like, it's a real wait and see thing for me. I think that a lot of white folk feel a lot more comfortable electing white, queer, and trans folk than they do having anything to do with anyone who looks remotely like us. Cis, het, trans, queer, disabled, immigrant, or otherwise.
And you're not wrong.
So...
But the point of all of that is to say, right, we're looking at a political future that is changing.
Absolutely.
And proof, again, that we can change. And I feel like Barack Obama showed up and it was like, hope and change. Whoa, we can change things. And then America said, don't get too comfortable with change. We can change the other direction too, right? But again, this proves that, you know, it might happen in spurts. We might be 2 steps forwards, 10 steps back. You know, it might be. We might be dancing with the fox, you know.
Wow.
That might be what the political world feels like at sometimes.
Is that 1989?
It's aged. Wow. It's aged. It is very aged.
Wow.
But all I'm saying is, you know, overall we are making progress, and that feels good.
I agree.
You can find my mom and dad, aka That Black Couple, on the web at thatblackcouple.com. That Black Couple is owned and operated by Color Combos Media. If you would like to help fund our content, sign up at www.patreon.com/colorcombosmedia. Please consider giving us $5 or $10 per month to help us build our platform and grow our organization. You can also give one-time donations at www.paypal.me/colorcombosmedia. All donations are welcome.
Book a job in the city, working for the man every night and day. And I never lost 1 minute of sleep, 'cause I was thinking about the way things might have been. Big wheels keep on turning, Proud Mary keep on burning, and we're rolling on the river. Well, I forgot
Turning, burning, rolling, rolling,
rolling on a river, rolling,
rolling,
rolling on a river,
rolling on the river. Don't hit the equipment.
We back.
We're back.
Hey. Hi. Segment 3.
We here.
Reflection.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's clear we're hopeful.
Yes, we're feeling good.
We're feeling really
2023.
I'm so excited
feeling
to be
right.
in this year, yo. I'm so excited to be in this year. So, thinking about what's happening next, what we're hopeful about, right?
Yes.
I'm lucky that I get to work with young Black folk, and that my work centers young Black folk. So a lot of what happens politically, I'm not surprised about, because I'm in conversation with them about what they envision for their future, and I know that they're the future, right? So I've been talking to young people since 2014 who were like, "Bro, we're gonna burn it down."
And they ain't playing.
They weren't playing. They were like, we're going to get elected. We're going to just dismantle everything. We're going to turn everything upside down. We're going to knock all this shit over. Abolition, revolution. And they weren't just talking. And then they had social media to connect them. Bro, this is exactly what young folk were saying they were going to do. The little, kids who were babies watching the movement for Black lives. Right? Who couldn't vote, who couldn't really get involved because they were too young. Mm-hmm. They're up. And those of us who started 10 years ago, we're on our way to being mentors. A lot of those young folks are our children. You know what I'm saying? And I'm so excited because now they're coming into universities. I'm teaching these young people, and all they talk about is radical politics. There is no centrism for them because they've watched it long enough, and they're like, yeah, we tried that, and being moderate doesn't keep us alive or safe, so we're going to have to do something really extreme. And I am elated that young people have acknowledged their own power to be able to say, this is what we're going to do, and then they actually are doing it.
When we invoked my mother, one of the greatest to ever do it.
Ever.
It reminds me of one of the stories that she told me when she was growing up, is that, she watched the civil rights movement, but she was just a little too young. Like, she was just too young to actually go. And her older sister was able to, go to protests and things. And she said she was so upset because she was like, I wanted to go and I wanted to be there. And I couldn't go because I was just a little bit too young. And that's what this reminds me of. It's like all those people that were maybe too young to participate, or were young and were participating with their siblings, or, they grew up with that. Yeah. I think about what I grew up with. I grew up with TLC and Aaliyah. I didn't have a movement for Black lives. I grew up with gangster rap, right?
Yeah.
That was kind of like what our movement for Black lives was, to say, look, this is what is happening in our lives. This is what our life looks like. Yeah. Right. Imagine if that's what you grew up watching, if that's what was normal for you. Yeah. Yeah. The fight to say, hey, Black lives matter, and we're going to keep screaming it from the rooftops. Yeah. And then we're going to organize, and we're going to tell you, when we say Black lives matter, this is what it means, and this is how it should show up.
And how to quantify that.
And then you grow up, and then you become an adult, and you have the power to vote. Right. And you can now start to legislate.
And you've already got that language. Imagine having that language.
Oh, yeah, you come up with that
as
language.
As a child. That's wild.
And you start to then figure out, how does that continue? How do we continue to implement this and grow and build on it?
I don't think I even understood Black queer feminism or Black feminist theoretic precepts in earnest until I was 30. I was trying my best, you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't in the literature. I didn't have the language really until I was 30.
Yeah, you had to go find it.
Imagine being raised by millennial folk like us,
Listen, I'm looking at my kids wow.
Right. Who
They
raised
say
you,
stuff back to me, and
who
I'm like, oh
raised you
shit.
to challenge gender, to challenge patriarchy, to challenge social constructs that make you feel uncomfortable in your body. So much so that they say, challenge me too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You don't belong to me as your parent either. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, that to me is so exciting. That to me is how you transform Black political futures, right? It's just about realizing that we don't have to conform to any of this shit. We don't have to bend to fit any of this. And I feel like young Black folk get it.
They do.
They're like, we don't have to write like you. We don't have to look like you. We don't have to sing like you. We don't have to walk, dress, act like you. Our gender doesn't have to look like something you understand, you know?
But I mean, I would argue that's something that young Black folk have always gotten through all the generations.
I think young Black folk have always gotten it, but I don't think that the environment has been safe or communal such that they could embody it together in
not in
public.
this way.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. Like, I feel like Black people, we do have a legacy of culture making.
Right.
And I think our legacy of culture making is built upon the fact that we are pushing back against whatever the norm is.
Right.
We are always on the outside. We are always at the fringes. We are always challenging. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we as Black people have always done that. It's interesting, like you're saying, in this political moment, to kind of see it so fleshed out.
Yes.
So robust.
Yes.
So intellectualized.
Right.
So self-aware.
Yeah.
Like it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous, bro. I think it's amazing. And I think when I think about this as a parent, right, being at this intersection where like, you can even think about like these like famous movie star parents, right? Like I think about the Wades, mm-hmm. right? And the publicness of Gabrielle Union working through her reproductive health and what that felt like for her, and then them having this child and it being this amazing, beautiful child who has her own personality. Zaya sharing her life with us and watching Dwayne Wade, who we all, I think, appreciated and respected, mm-hmm. but who has really, I feel like, shown a lot of Black fathers how to support trans kids, right? Something that we don't actually have healthy examples of, really. We don't have it, right?
No.
We're in a moment where we're watching even like the Smiths, the Pinkett Smiths, navigate immense like cultural stress at different times in their relationships.
Yes.
And weather the storm, but then also raise these deeply artistic and like futuristic children, right? These children independent who are their own human beings, right? And that's not usual. Right, even in the mega star, famous superstar stars of the world, usually their children are just extensions of themselves, right?
Yeah.
But I look a lot like, I'm gonna do this again. But I look at like Northwest, right? That child is doing some things with gender and her body and the way she presents. A lot of these kids that come from that generation are, you know, in the limelight, are very like gender queer and non-normative. You know what I'm saying? And they play with those things. And I'm just like, well, y'all flexing your muscles. And I'll look at my own son who will wear a dangly earring to a prom or a dance. And that boy came in the house and had that on today. It was just a random Friday. He had on army fatigue type clothes and a dangly earring. Because that's what he wanted to wear.
That's what he wanted to wear.
Because he likes it.
And I remember our other son, we bought this sweater for our daughter. It was
unicorn.
This gray sweater had pink arms on it with a big old unicorn in the front.
With rainbow hair.
Rainbow hair was, just
glitter.
Glitter shine, right? And he's like, I want that.
That's cute.
And we said, okay, we'll buy you one too. And they were twins. They
Wonder twins.
They were wearing the sweaters together.
Yes.
And he would. I remember I sent him to school and he wore it one day, and I was so petrified because I was like, I really hope he doesn't go to school
and someone
say something or do something or
what,
and not even just the kids, the adults too, like just concerned.
It's usually adults.
And he came home, and I remember I was so anxious, like, oh, I hope he doesn't come in the same. And he just walked in the house like it was Tuesday. And I realized, wow, okay.
Yeah, it's different.
You holding on to some shit that's not even, it's not the same no more.
Exactly. It's different now. Like, this baby has one of his nails painted since he was a baby. Like, Even our oldest, I remember we were at Sephora, and he was like, I want to try that highlighter. And I was like, on your face? And he was like, yeah, I want to see. Okay, son. Here you go.
We'll put the highlighter
It's Rihanna's. It's called Trophy Wife. It looks good on your skin tone. You know? And I'm really excited for what young Black folk are doing. I'm excited for their creativity. I'm excited for their freedom, their self-belief. I'm excited for the way that they have confidence in themselves, the way that they affirm themselves. You know, I feel like they've learned so many lessons that it took us so long to get. You know, I just am in awe of like young Black, like especially young Black queer folk.
Yeah.
I'd be like, ooh, y'all so cool. Like y'all, I want to be y'all auntie. I want to be everybody queer auntie. That's all I want to do. I just want to be everybody queer auntie. Because I think y'all are my nibblings and nieces and nephews. I just think y'all so cool. That's all.
That's all you want? That's it?
That's it. I just really want to spend this whole year like, y'all so cool. I don't got no drama. Drama free. Hashtag drama free.
Drama free 2023.
Hashtag gay auntie. That's my hashtags this year. Hashtag drama free. Hashtag gay auntie. That's all I got. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for what's in store.
Thank y'all for listening. Before you go, make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ThatBLKCouple, on Facebook at ThatBlackCouple, and look us up on the internets at www.thatblackcouple.com.
Bye.